Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Thanks for joining in. Today we are on the Coxton Sub, and today we're going to talk about passenger operations. Now, when we discuss passenger operations, we are mostly referring to commuter operations. Since this is set in the early 70s, we're going to go ahead and assume that the Amtrak merger is just around the corner. I shouldn't call it a merger. We're going to say that the Amtrak creation is just around the corner. And by this point in time, the SP has let go of most of its passenger services. So we're going to talk about the commuter services that run here on the route, since we are to all points southeast of Little Rock. And then we'll talk about the one through passenger train that you could run if you wanted to. But at the end of the day, remember, it's your route once you get it, and it is your railroad, so you can make whatever passenger operations you want. But at least for the time being, these are the ones that I have considered, put some thought into, and developed. And I would suffice to say that this is definitely not an exhaustive list, but it is at least a preview of some good ideas and some studies on some other prototypes. So hope you guys enjoy. We'll start off our tour today in Coxton. We have two passenger trains here ready to head out. We have the Express on the right, which just has stops only at Billary and Johnsville. And then we have the non-express. I don't really have a name for it just yet, but I guess you can call it the local or the regular commuter train on the left. And this will stop at all stations between Coxton and Johnsville. So with a stop at Billary, of course. The express, we do run one each morning and each evening, both directions on the route. So that makes for two consists, one going north and one going south. And then the more local trains, you could call them, because I don't have a better word for them. You have two of them, one that runs north, one that runs south, and then we have another one that runs along the Med branch. So we'll see a little bit of all of those, and they get some good footage along the different towns and just kind of talk about the procedure as we go. So sit back and enjoy the show. I have decided that I'm going to rework a bit of the station area here. I don't want as large of a station here in Coxton. It's kind of a terminus, more or less, for the passenger lines or the commuter lines. And honestly, most of the commuter traffic is centered around the town of Billary. So I think I'm going to go ahead eventually and cut this station down into a smaller one. Make some space for, you know, some more parking and some scenery and things like that, and kind of create a little bit better environment. A little bit prettier scenery. Obviously the scenery here is not finished, but fortunately that's a good thing, because I think I want to redo most of it. So we'll see. I'll let you guys know once I get that done. Here we are in Billary, not too long after the northbound express has departed Coxton. And typically what happens is a few minutes after that, we have the local commuter train here will leave Billary. It will head to the east, to the town of Med, which is along the branch line. We have several videos that have featured the freight operations on that line, so today we're going to show a little bit of the commuter operations. And then when it gets to Med, it turns around, waits for a little bit, and then makes its way back to Billary. This is a one-time-a-day run, and then if it happens to be during a time of seasonal peak for passengers, then this consist will get pulled into some extra duties running either north and south along the main. Well, here we are back in Coxton about 10 minutes after the express has left, and typically what will happen is the commuter train that we call the local, that makes all the stops at all stations along the route, will depart. So this gives just a little bit of balance of time between the express and this one, so they can both run at their maximum allowed track speed. But also, you know, naturally once this train makes its first station stop, it's going to be far enough behind at that point that it doesn't really matter. But here we will depart Coxton, and the first stop will be the town of Highbridge. here we are on the Med branch in the town of Minehead, and we are waiting for the commuter to come in. We're going to come up and make a quick 1-minute station stop for all parties to get on and off, and then we will continue our trek to the east. Next up will be the town of Glenthorne. Here we are just to the south of the town of Luton, watching the northbound express come over the canal on its way into town. We will not have a station stop here at Luton, we will just pass through. And we're back now to the south of Hybrids, watching the commuter train come up to the north. Pay close attention to the scenery around here. This area has recently been fully upgraded with turfFX. I did mention in one of my previous videos that I would be making the upgrades. So far we've got about 5 miles done, and this is one of those areas. I think if you manage to go find some clips of this similar vantage point in an old video, you would see a drastic difference in the quality, and hopefully you guys enjoy it just as much as I do. Here we are back on the Med branch, and we are just to the west of Glenthorne, waiting on the commuter to come in. All we have left to do is cross over the creek, and we'll be right in town. One of the cool things about running this commuter train to the east, to the town of Med, is when you get into Glenthorne, you have to come into the station track in order to get around the way freight. And so normally this would be a 1-minute station stop, but once we get stopped, we're going to have to wait for the way freight to leave. And that means that we might have to wait anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how long it takes them to get on out of here. Didn't have to wait too long today, because here they are going ahead and heading out to the west. Next up for that way freight is to get back to Billary, where they will terminate and be broken down. But as soon as they get out of the way, we will continue on to the east, and next stop for us will be the town of Med. Any second now, the dispatcher will line us back onto the branch, and we will be ready to go ahead and make our way back to the east. I do apologize for my voice cracking a bit. Hope I'm not getting sick, but we have had some sickness here at the house, so hopefully that does not apply to me. We shall see soon enough. And here we have it. The block signal now shows clear. Now that it detects that we are coming, thanks to the switch being thrown, so we're going to go ahead and get through the crossing and on our way. Here we are in Highbridge, waiting on the commuter to come in so he doesn't have too much farther to go. And then he will make his station stop, and we'll do about a 2-minute stop here. There are quite a few people that get on and off here in Highbridge, so we have a little bit more time for them to disembark and embark before we leave. Currently on the west side of Billary, we have the southbound express coming in. So it will make a brief 5-minute station stop at Billary. Billary is the location where I'm going to keep the large station just because it's going to be the only place on route where we have any through passenger trains that stop. And hence the reason why the express trains also stop here. So this is our, it's not a terminal or a terminus, but it's like a, you know, a large-sized passenger station where we have a lot of people changing trains. Well, here we are in Billary, and you can see we have a very busy platform today. So the express train will come in on platform 3, while the northbound express train, which will meet us here, will be coming in on track 4 to platform 4, which is just to the left of the train here. And then, of course, on the far left here, you can see Montagnard, which once again is packed full of material and cars. But nicely for us, we'll get here, we'll wait for the other express, and then once the northbound express meets us, we'll go ahead and be cleared to continue our trip south to Coxton, where we will wait until the evening rush and we'll make our trip back north. Here we are back on the Med branch. We have the local commuters coming in for his station stop at Med. Once we get here, we have all passengers disembarked, so we can go ahead and take the entire train set over to the Y and turn it around. And then we come back and load up anybody who's going to make our trip back to Billary. Our engineer today was a little bit late on his bell, so hopefully no one will write him up for that, but it is what it is. Well, here we are now, checking out the express for its first station stop in Billary. On the left, of course, we are meeting the southbound express, which has been waiting for us for a few minutes. Once we get here, we'll have a 5-minute station stop, and we will continue to the north, all the way to Johnsville. I do really like those Alco PA and PB set that I got from Trainz Forge. Definitely worth the time and the effort to get those up and running. I love them a lot. Once upon a time, I had an old HO scale PA. It was a Santa Fe though, and a war bonnet scheme was a nice one. But I'm going to be honest, I definitely like the SP ones better. Lucky for us today, we caught a nice special consist coming into this station at Billary. There is one train that runs completely across the route that I have kind of planned out as far as passengers are concerned. It is a mail train, so we have a bunch of mail cars at the front with one sleeper and coach at the end. And of course, since this is late days of the SP, you've got a mix of all kinds of paint schemes because naturally the SP would be dumping as much of their passengers rolling stock as they could. So here we are with a nice pretty mix up. Hope you guys enjoy it. But this is our one through train. We'll kind of follow this one as we run a bit across the route on the north end for our last little few scenes here, and then we'll pretty much be done kind of checking out what I have so far. I might add to it over time, but for now this is kind of where it is. Well, here we are over by the Brockwell salt mines, and we have our 2 interchange tracks on the left, and we have the northbound way freight waiting for us over there on the right. This freight train will be a feature of a future video I've got coming out soon where we will run this train, but for now you get to kind of rail fan a bit. But fortunately for us, since this is a priority train, all of the freight trains get out of the way for us, so we usually get a bunch of high greens all the way across the route. Well, about 25 miles or so behind where we just were, looking at the mail train that heads north, we are now back to our local commuter train that is currently leaving Luton. Next up for this train would be the town of Fulton, and then Shifnal, and then Billary, where it will terminate, turn around, and then later on in the day make its run back south to Coxton. Well, it's not very often on the Coxton Sub that you get to catch a train at track speed, but here we are coming by the meet at 60 miles an hour. Nice thing about running commuter trains is you don't always have to have meets that are coming at you face to face, but sometimes you get to have some overtakes as well. Here we are at CP Summit, just to the north of Fulton, passing the Fulton Local. Fulton Local is being run by 2 Alcos today. These 2 guys don't get out of the yard in Monson very often. Usually the Fulton Local is run by a Jeep, usually a Jeep 9, but today we have 2 Alcos, so a little rare sighting. Fortunately, it's a good day to be a rail fan. Well, here we are on our last stop for the northbound commuter here in the town of Billary. We're going to go ahead and also make this the stopping point for our video. I just want to say thank you all for tuning in and watching. Please understand that if you decide to buy the route when it comes out, that you are more than welcome to shape the operations in any way whatsoever that you would like. I will be honest and say that freight operations are much more my forte than passenger ones. However, I did definitely want to acknowledge the fact that passenger operations were a very crucial part of railroading for well over 100 years. So hopefully this has been enjoyable. Hopefully you have at least had some ideas, ways that you think you can improve, or things that you like, but definitely stay tuned for more videos. I always appreciate your viewership, and we will see you guys next time.